නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. සද්ධා දනං සීල දනං හිරි ඔත්තප්පියන් දනං සුත දනං ච චාගෝච පඤ්ඤාමේ සත්තමං දනං තී. Dear Dhamma friends and devotees, first of all, I would like to wish and bless everyone to be well and happy by the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. I would like to ask a question. Can we see the Buddha today or right now? What would be the answer? Answer should be, of course, yes. How can we see the Buddha today? Because the Buddha passed away already. 2567 years ago. Therefore, how do we find the Buddha? Physically, he's gone. You would say, of course, the Buddha passed away. But Dhammika is alive. Therefore, the Buddha said, Yo Dhammam passati, somam passati. Someone practices the Dhamma or teachings of the Buddha who sees the Buddha even today. What kind of Dhamma or teachings of the Buddha you are supposed to follow? Yo paticca samuppadang passati, yo Dhammam passati. So Dhammam passati. Yo paticca samuppadam passati, so Dhammam passati. Paticca samuppada, interdependent origination. Dependent origination or interdependent origination is the paticca samuppada, teachings of the Buddha. One portion of his brilliant of facts just we quoted from his teachings as paticca samuppada, or which is dependent origination. This life existed because of avijja, that means illusion. And then we had to continue this life with attachment or craving. We call as tanha. Tanha means craving. You have heard about lobha dosa moha. Tanha divided or categorized into three areas: lobha, greed; dosa, anger or aversion; and moha, illusion or delusion. Because of this craving, we existed as beings or sattas. Sattas means beings, living beings. Therefore, we have to follow the paticca samuppada or interdependent origination. That means we have to realize what it is. Why we became humans, or why we came to this world? Because of our past karma, which is created by craving or tanha. Because of our past karma, which is created by our craving. Because of attachment is there, and then we existed. If you have done good karma, that means wholesome activities, it could be mental, verbal and physical, and then we may have a good life or good realm to reborn. If you have done lots of bad karma or unwholesome activities, it could be mental, verbal and physical, definitely. We have to go through unhealthy lifestyle. That means we have to reborn in one of evil realms. Anyway, by knowing this truth or the real nature of this, the circle of death and birth or samsara, we have to follow the teachings of the Buddha. And then we are able to see the Buddha today, not with our naked eyes, but with our wisdom. Where is wisdom? With understanding, wisdom is in your mind. Everybody got human mind, but still, everybody is not intelligent or educated or enlightened. Though we are having minds, but still we have to train with the nature of this existence. The Buddha said, beings, living beings, created by craving, according to their own karma, they have to go through happiness or unhappiness, or they have to reborn in a bad realm or good realms, or in a heaven or hell. It depends on their own karma or their intentional actions. That means karma. The karma means volition, should be intentional, and then it is completed. According to that completed intentional actions or volition, they have to go through their own journey. Now, we have to find what kind of teachings we have to follow to become a happy person. When I talk about happiness, we have to go through two areas. That means worldly happiness and spiritual happiness, or supramundane happiness. Worldly happiness, when we talk about worldly happiness, that means being a virtuous person, you have to practice or follow your studies and jobs or duties, and then making money, finding jobs, getting married as lay people, getting married, having kids, and then to do your duties towards yourself and others. Those are kind of worldly happiness. Remember, but should be discipline. Being a virtuous person, you have to find worldly happiness. Otherwise, you are breaking laws or breaking precepts. You are not respecting the Buddha's path. That means you are violating the path. Automatically, you are going to become an evil person within yourself, at the same time among other people. Even under one roof, you may feel, oh, I'm an evil person. Sometimes you may hide from others your evil behavior, but your mind or your consciousness knows what you did or what you are doing. Therefore, you have to find worldly happiness even with good path, according to the teachings of the Buddha. Be righteous, work harder, find money, and then do your duties towards yourself and others. That means you are disciplined and virtuous. And then you may find real happiness, worldly real happiness. Simply, I would to explain further, you are not breaking 5 precepts. You are observing, at the same time, you are protecting, being honest. You are not going to kill any beings, not only human beings, but also even tiny creatures. Intentionally, you are not going to hurt or harm any beings. Also, you are not going to steal anything which is not belongs to you. You are respecting others' belongings. You are not damaging others' families. You are not breaking your family bonds, what you put on your marriage. At the same time, you are not using any kind of harsh word, slanderous word. At the same time, you are telling the truth. You are not following gossip. You are not going to be a liar. You are not lying. You want the trust. People used to say, I trust you. Therefore, I respect you. I believe. People used to say, it's lovely. Between parents and children, wife and husband, friends between, it's lovely. People used to respect you very much. And then, you have to promote your mind to accept the real truth of this journey, this life journey, what it is. Everything that has the nature of arising has the nature of passing away. Yang kinchi samudaya dhammang sabbantang nirodha dhammang. Everything has the nature of arising, has the nature of passing away. Whatever the component things arose, subject to get dissolved. That's the nature. When you accept the truth of this nature, definitely you may become a lovely person within yourself, at the same time among other people, including your family members. Also, you are going to cultivate pure thoughts in your mind. That means you are going to practice non-attachment. Conventionally, you are having attachment to your loved ones in your family. At the same time, you may like many things, properties, clothes, food, etc. But absolutely, you are not having a strong attachment of those things. That means, conventionally you are having attachment, but absolutely you are not going to attach to the things or to them by thinking which is permanent or it's permanent. Everything is impermanent. And then you are going to hold each other's hand. But still, you know, even with my single finger, I don't have 100% control. When I lose my physical energy, I may lose everything. I may lose my life. I have to stop everything what I promote in my mind. That means I promote my feelings to gain lots of things in this life, to make money, find jobs, have a happy family, so on. But when I lose everything, mental and physical energy, I may leave everything and everybody. That's the real nature. Do you think when I explain this way, you may have kind of dark feelings or unhappy feelings? Should not be there. I'm saying the nature of this life, the real nature of this life, or I am explaining the reality of this life. You have to be strong to accept the truth. At the same time, you don't want to lose worldly happiness. Being a virtuous person, you can find worldly happiness. But still, you have to accept the truth of non-attachment. Finally, you have to cut it off with everything. You have to follow detachment. All right. Paying the background for this sermon, I would like to explain the 7th type of wealth, what you have to looking for in your life. The Buddha said, there are 7 types of wealth. Saddha, the wealth of Saddha, confidence in the Buddha, or faith in the Buddha. Sila, Sila means morality, having a moral life within yourself. Sila. Hiri Ottap, Saddha Danang, Sila Danang, Hiri Ottapiyan Danang, the wealth of the moral shame of for doing evils. You have to have moral shame and fear for doing evils. Saddha Danang, Sila Danang, Hiri Ottapiyan Danang. Sutta Danang, the wealth of listening to right things or Dhamma or pure things, which is not creating greed, aversion, and lobha, dosa, moha, and illusion. It's not creating in your mind greed, anger or aversion, and illusion. You have to listen those kind of teachings of the Buddha. Of course, the Buddha's teachings are completely pure, but sometimes there are some stories and, some facts. Without knowing what is right and what is not right, some may grasp bad part of the story or sermons. So that's why I ask you to accept the real explanations with your own understanding. If you are not knowledgeable in Dhamma, or you are not mindful in your career, of course you are going to follow kind of evil path because you don't know what it is. Sometimes you have to depend on others. Of course you have to listen to Dhamma, but still you have to have your own knowledge and experience to gain right things or right path. Sutta, Saddha Danang, Sila Danang, Hiryottapiyan Danang, Sutta Danang, and Chaga. Chaga means giving, sacrifice, practicing benevolence. Those kind of qualities, just you have to follow. Chaga. Saddha Danang, Sila Danang, Hiryottapiyan Danang, Sutta Danang cha Chagocha, Panya me Sattaman Danang. Panya me wisdom. It's a wealth of 7th one. That means wealth of wisdom. It's very important. Again, let's go to the first one. That means Saddha. Saddha means confidence. Simply we have to say faith. But when we follow the path of the Buddha, just we have to say Saddha means confidence. When I ask you to be Saddha, that means you have to be confident in the Buddha's path. You have to be confident with the teachings of the Buddha. Of course, the Buddha said, Ehi Passika. You may come and observe. Come and see. That means come and observe. Even you can question the path of the Buddha. You can question about the Buddha. You can argue, but should be constructive. You may argue, should be constructive, not should be destructive. Be kind and wise and then question and argue. Because if you have kind of curiosity, of course you have to question. Sometimes you have to use your knowledge to clear what you have in your mind. Otherwise, you don't know. Something in your mind which is not clear, and then you are curious. Sometimes you may have lots of doubts. It's hard to continue your path because doubts are there. So that's why we are asking you. Doubt is very bad things. It's a kind of evil things. So you have to clear all kind of doubts. And then it's easy to continue your path. Therefore, you have to be confident in the Buddha's path. Of course, you can have help with Ittipiso Bhagava Arahang so on. What Arahant is? Arahant means the Buddha is qualified to gain all kind of respect from others. That means physically he is qualified to gain respect. Mentally, with understanding and realization and enlightenment, he is qualified to have all kind of respect. You have to be saddha in the Buddha. And sila, you have to be moral. You have to have a moral life. Of course, for lay people, there are daily behavior. Yeah, you have to practice daily behavior, daily pattern of a moral life. That means you have to get rid of from killing, stealing, sensual misbehavior, lying and taking intoxicating drugs and drinks. And then simply, just you have to call as you are a virtuous person or you are a righteous person. You are following a moral life, sila. Hiri ottappiya, shame and fear for doing evil things, but should be moral shame and fear. Otherwise, someone may hide bad things from other people and then continue his own hidden agendas. That's not what we are talking about here. Hiri otap or shame and fear for doing evil things, but should be moral with understanding of samsaric journey, the circle of death and birth. We have suffered a lot for billions lives in our past. Being a human is so rare. We got this real chance. Still, we are losing each moment of our life, but you are supposed to survive. Therefore, being a knowledgeable person with understanding, you have to avoid evil things for doing bad activities. At the same time, just you have to realize if you are going to continue evil path, definitely you have to face for the result. Even within this life, you have to go through lots of pains and sorrow. At the same time, after this life, that means when you die, you have to go with your own evil consciousness and then to reborn in one of hells. Again you have to go through lots of pains and sorrow. So, it's a wealth. That means when you practice moral shame and fear for doing evils. Hiriyotap. Saddhadanan, siladanan, hiriyotapyandanan. Sutta, wealth of listening. Of course, you have to clear your evil mind. And then to understand the validity of this human life. And then respect yourself and others. When you respect yourself, automatically you are going to refrain from evils. And then you feel, I'm all right. I'm having a clear mind. I have no any doubts about my path. With understanding, I'm following my clear path, what the Buddha asks us to follow. At the same time, you know which are the evil things, which are the good things. Therefore, evil path, I don't want to follow, but I would like to follow the pure path. Ariyo attangiko maggo. Eightfold path. Samma ditti, samma sankappa, so on. Right understanding, right concepts, right speech, so on. Within this sermon, I have no time to explain, but later, just I would like to explain what Eightfold Path is. Anyway, listening to Dhamma should be clear, should be a wealth within yourself. You are rich. You are a rich person with Dhamma. Just you have to feel. Sometimes with property or wealth, the worldly wealth, you are not a kind of rich person. But with Dhamma, with understanding of the Buddha's past, including compassion and wisdom, you are rich. You are so rich. And then, Saddha danang, Sila danang, Hiryottappiyan danang, Sutta danang cha chagocha. Chaga. Chaga means giving. But keep in your mind, without asking for anything in return. That means fame, gain, property, money, praise, or whatever. Without asking for these kind of things in return, just you have to give it. You have to share with others. With pure mind, you are sharing things with others. It could be food, clothes, etc. At the same time, you have to share Dhamma. Dhamma means the Buddha's teachings, which is including compassion and wisdom. And anicca dukkha anatta, that means the three characteristics of existence. That's the real nature of this life when we talk about three characteristics of existence. It's an absolute truth. With understanding, you have to follow the absolute truth, at the same time live with conventional truth. That means you have to follow your layman life. But still, you are trained to accept the absolute truth means nothing is permanent. Chaga. Saddha danang, Sila danang, Hiryottappiyan danang, Sutta danang cha chagocha, Panya me sattama danang. The last one, no, seventh one is Panya. It's a wealth of Panya. That means you have to eradicate all kind of feelings of or concepts of misunderstanding. That means everything is permanent. I can do everything what I need. I can go through all kind of happiness throughout of my life or afterlife. People would say sometimes, when you follow the Buddha's wisdom, that means like flowers, beautiful flowers, beautiful blossoms of flowers. Of course, you have to pick it up and then take it and then place in front of the Buddha on a table or somewhere in an altar. But you know what the nature of these beautiful blossoms or flowers. These beautiful flowers are subject to get withered. Having comparison with my own life, my life is subject to get all age sicknesses and then to face for death. Therefore, I have to be mindful and then to be virtuous. I have to lose everything at any time. Therefore, conventionally, I'm going to work with these things, with this life, with my loved ones, with my career. At that time, I have to have a strong mind. Of course, I have to go through with a strong mind. But I know any time I may lose or leave. These all kind of things. Even my physical body, I had to live here. And then consciousness of mind leaves. See, it doesn't matter how much you love yourself and others. any time. You may leave yourself, also others. Therefore, when you work with worldly stuff like property, people, and other things, even mental concepts, that means your jobs and positions, and there are lots of things. Just train your mind to accept the impermanence. But accordingly, you can go through. That means study. I mean, just continue your positions, that's all right. But you have to train your mind to accept the truth of impermanence. That means wisdom. This is what the Buddha asks us to cut it off with understanding. That means the real word is renunciation. You have to follow renunciation. That means just you are leaving all kind of concepts and thoughts with understanding. Even you are not attached to the concepts of self. You are not going to say, it's me, it is permanent. Conventionally, it's me, that's all right. But you understand, you realize already, it's not I, it is not permanent self. There is no permanent self. It's the only thing is conventional. Therefore, whatever the things you do, it should be conventional. When we talk about absolute truth, you are not going to grasp anything by thinking it is permanent. That means karma is not going to create in your mind. That means you are reducing your craving, you are reducing your karma, and then you are finding the absolute path or absolute happiness or ultimate goal of your happiness. That means Nibbana. By the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may you be well, happy, and peaceful. Finally, attain supreme Nibbana. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanang chirang rakkantu desanang chirang rakkantu loka sasanang. May the Triple Gem bless with you. Anumodana.